Building a Warhammer army might not be as simple as you think, and let's talk about why. Hey, welcome to SaveQuest, where I cover my interests and games I enjoy. Just a quick heads up, I got this expander put in, so I'll sound different for a week or two, but I still wanted to get this video out. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most important steps early on in 40k, and it's building a list. If I did one thing different, it would be to learn a little bit more about list making before just buying models. As we're going over this, we're going to use the official 40k app, and then I'll go over what you need to put models together and paint them. When you're getting started and you hear players talking about list making and different data sheets, rules, model types, it's really easy to get intimidated, and trust me, I'm right there with you. But you don't have to know everything at first. What's really important is building a small group that you can play on. Once you start playing, it'll make sense a lot quicker. The best tool I found is the Warhammer 40k app, but I also really like the War Oregon app, and I highly recommend that one as well because you can actually see the data sheets and information on that app for the models you select. But we'll come back to these apps later. Let's go over points. Points is what players use to determine your army size. Each model or model set has a predetermined point value. So the typical army size is 2,000. That's what they use in tournaments. But you can play casually with technically any amount of points. Although most people usually go by either 2,000, 1,000, or 500, 500 being the smallest. So let's talk about actually picking models for your army. Now I'm not going to assume that you're too deep in this hobby as this is a beginner series, so I recommend starting with a beginner kit of some kind to see if you actually like the hobby. I used the Getting Started with Warhammer 40k set to see if I liked building and painting. I like this kit because you can pretty much paint these models however you want, and it's only like 15 bucks. Now if you're absolutely positive you like the hobby, the best thing you can start out with, in my opinion, is without a doubt Combat Patrol. And here's my reasoning. Let's use the Thousand Suns as an example. On the Warhammer 40k website, the Combat Patrol is listed as $170. And you'll probably find it around 180 in hobby stores, maybe cheaper, but old reliable Amazon has it as 142 at the time of writing this video. So for fairness sake, I'll call it 150 just to make it even, and it has around 105 points. Now let's do some math, and we'll use Amazon as a control because most people have reliable access to it. The Combat Patrol comes with a Demon Prince, which on Amazon is $75. Also comes with the Zongor Shaman, which is another $35. 3 Zongor Enlightened, which is $75. And then 10 Rubric Marines, which is $55. So that's over $230 buying them all separate. And before tax, the point to dollar ratio on the Combat Patrol is 3.36 points per dollar, and then buying them separately, it's 2.1 points per dollar. So we've established that the Combat Patrols are worth it, but that's only 500 points, which, albeit is enough to play, isn't close to that 2,000 point mark we might be looking for. And to reach that, we hobbyists encourage the rule of cool. Do what you like. The only restriction for building armies are as follows. At 2,000 points, a maximum of 6 characters being commanders or heroes, and then a minimum maximum units of 12 to 18 respectively, which is a model set or every model group. But other than that, just follow the rule cool. So now that you have some models under your belt, let's add them to the app. When we open up the app, it's going to ask to sign in or create an account, but you can also just press skip. Go to Battleforge, press the plus in the bottom right, choose your faction, and for our purpose, choose Strike Force, which is 2,000 points. For now, as a beginner, detachments don't really matter too much, so you can just pick whatever and name your army anything you want. Then you can add your models here. I recommend doing this even if you haven't bought your models yet. Now let's go over some building supplies. The very basics are flush cutters, and these are going to cut the pieces off the sprues, and plastic cement model glue. Super glue won't work because it's additive and the cement actually melts the pieces together. I recommend this brand. Now those are just the absolute bare minimums, but I highly recommend getting a model knife. This will help get finer edges off the model pieces, and sanding pads or files, and this will help even out those edges and get a really clean look. And for painting, the basics are as follows. Primer, this is a must. Any paint primer or primer works. I like the Vallejo primer, but I also use the Rust-Oleum and it works just fine. You can just find it anywhere. For paints, I personally use Vallejo, but most of the tutorials you'll find online use Game Workshop's brand Citadel. Paintbrushes, you don't need a lot. I bought this pack on Amazon for like $10 or $12. It has everything I need, but I've additionally grabbed 1 or 2 really fine tip brushes at Hobby Lobby for like $4 or $5 each. Just make sure you take care of your brushes and they'll take care of you. I also highly recommend getting a model holder of some sort. It keeps my hands from cramping up and I consider it a necessity. I have the 2 sizes Citadel makes as they're designed specifically for these models. Thanks for following along. Next video I'll cover the building process. It's extremely simple and I picked it up extremely fast. And as always, I'll see you all next video.